Hello and welcome to another episode with your favorite Project Lead the Way instructor, Mr. Spaeth. Today we are going to be going through line conventions. So we are on the 2.1a line conventions PowerPoint. Show you where it's found right over here. So 2.1, if you go to Home, go to Unit 2, 2.1, you will find the actual presentation right here. So line conventions PowerPoint. So we're going to be going through that today. First things first, line conventions. We are talking about doing technical drawings. So during technical drawings, there's some very strict rules that we use to make sure that when we look at a technical drawing, most all people can understand what's going on. Okay, so we use different styles of lines because they mean different things. Again, a picture being worth 1,000 words, different types of lines help us to convey what it is we're trying to communicate. Okay, so you probably did some sketches before where you had maybe some construction lines in there. Notice they wanted to draw this nice little half circle, but they wanted to make sure that it was deep enough here and it went up high enough there. And so they just made some light little lines in there. Typically, we'd leave them in there or erase them when we're done, but we call those construction lines. Object lines are the dark ones that show the features of the part. Okay, they define the object, the thick and dark. We typically, when doing sketches, just draw object lines. So these two here, really, we should have seen both of them quite often already. Hidden lines is where we start to get a little bit hairy about what's going on. Okay, so don't pay attention to this half of the part right now, but I do want you to pay attention to this half. Okay, this hidden line. Think of this object as three-dimensional and being flat on this edge and having a hole drilled right down the middle. Now, when we're looking at it from this angle, we can't see the hole. Okay, so typically we wouldn't even draw it, it would be hidden from us. However, because we know it's there, we draw these dashed lines and call them hidden lines. Let me give you another example. So here we have a part, we can see it in its isometric view. Here we're drawing the top view, the front view, so looking at it from this direction. And then the right side view, meaning we are looking at it from looking behind it right over here is what it looks like. So on our top view, notice our hidden lines right here. All this is showing is that there's a hole right in the middle of both of these sides. We can't see it when we look at it from the top, but we know it's there, so we're going to draw the hidden lines. Same thing when we're looking at the side. So there is this little flat portion here on the side. We can't see it when we're looking at it on the side, but it's hidden, and so we draw a hidden line to show it. Okay, so those are hidden lines. We're going to be talking about more of those later, but those can be really hard to draw and think about. So a lot of times what we make is 3D models of the part, and we kind of move it around in different orientations just to see what's hidden and what's not. That really, really helps. Center lines are another line that we don't typically draw, but in the middle of every circle, you'll see these center lines. Okay, so they're not quite a dashed line. They're a little bit differently, and we'll draw them a little bit better in class. But they always have one dash right in the middle of the part, and then two other dashes that straddle between outside the part and just inside the part. So those are our center lines. Just saying that that's the center of a circular feature. That's it. Now, section lines. Now, defines where material is cut away. Now we're talking about this side of the part. Notice there's a line right here that's kind of freehand drawn. We'll tell you what that line is later. But these section lines, where it's all these diagonal lines, just show us that because we wanted to see a certain feature, we thought we'd cut some of that material away. That's not really how the part's going to look, but it helps us to notice what's going on the inside if we draw a section line portion. And it just tells us that this material's cut away. It's not normal like that, but it's helpful to know what's going on the inside. And then we have a short break line, and that's just this little break that tells us this section is cut away, this section is not. Then we have dimension lines. We're going to be talking a lot about dimensioning later. And this is very, very important for technical drawing because we want to be really, really obvious about how big things are, how big certain features are. So we wanted to tell you that 1.25 inches was the distance from here until here. Okay, so we call these dimension lines. They have arrows that normally, not all the time, point outward toward, towards, we call them extension lines, these little guys, okay? Point outward toward extension lines showing from what feature we're measuring from and to. So notice from this feature to this feature is 1.25 inches or 1 1/4 inch. And then from this feature to all the way over here to this feature is 12 inches. So those are our dimension lines. Extension lines, again, just it gives us a nice flat area to point to. Obviously, we can't have 50 arrows pointing directly at that point, so we need a little extension line to give us some room just to make it look nice. Now, a long break line can save us some drawing. So notice 1.25 inches and then 12 inches. That doesn't look proportional. What happened was they drew this long break line and just decided, hey, there's nothing special going on in between these areas, so we don't need to draw the whole thing. We're just going to put a little cut in there and just tell you, hey, it's longer than this, as you can notice by our dimensions, but we don't want to draw the whole thing. So it just saves us some paper space and some time. And then leader lines. So leader lines we use quite often when doing comments, or when we're telling our viewers how big a circle is. So notice this little symbol here means diameter, and diameter 2 inches. So pointing to this circle, that means this circle has a diameter of 2 inches. This has a diameter of 1/2 inch, and this one has a diameter of 1 inch. And it looks like it's 0.5 or 0.8 deep. They put a little note on there. So really, really nice for showing dimensions of arc circles, and then just details that you wouldn't normally put on there. We'll see how this is used later in the course. Okay, these standards, these are standards relating to technical drawing. Almost every single technical drawing will have probably 8 out of the 9 of these, or 8 out of the 10 of these types of lines. Very, very commonly used. Okay, and then we'll talk a little bit more about precedence of lines later. Precedence comes into play when we are talking about drawing these types of views, a top view, a front view, or a right side view. What you'll see every now and then is sometimes where you should put a hidden line, instead you'll have an object line that goes right over it. And so which one do you draw? Do you draw the hidden line or the object line? And what we say here is that object lines always take precedence. Hidden lines take precedence over center lines. So if you're drawing the center right here and it's covered up by something else other than say another hidden line is in the way, or this object line is in the way, as it is over here. So we have a front side view and a top side view here. So if you kind of look at the top side, if I'm drawing a little arrow here and you're looking in that direction, then what you'd see here is just a center line where this circle should be. But notice where the hidden line should be, because this circle is hidden. We don't see it when we flip it over and look at the top. We have object lines because this little feature is in our way. Okay, so it just talks about which lines take precedence. All right, so hopefully you like this this video, and please go to the quizzes and take the 2.1 line conventions quiz. It's just 10 questions of matching going through the same PowerPoint. Hopefully you liked it, and please let me know if there's anything I can do to make it better. Thank you.